I'm Teisha Bader with Shalom TV's news update for Thursday, July the 10th, 2014. Day 3 of Israel's Operation Protective Edge saw at least 50 rockets fired at cities across southern and central Israel from Gaza today. They included Beersheba, Ashkelon, Ashdod, and Sdot Negev in the south, Rehovot, Yavne, Lod, Ramle, and Gadara in the center, many causing damage to buildings and vehicles. The Iron Dome missile defense system intercepted at least 8 rockets over Greater Rehovot in the Shvela region. Hamas and Islamic Jihad took responsibility for the barrage of rockets, and the Israeli Air Force continued its airstrikes, hitting hundreds of terror targets in Gaza in response. There had been reports earlier today that an Israeli airstrike took out the head of Hamas's rocket arsenal in Gaza, Iman Siyam, but security officials now say those reports were proven to be incorrect. And the IDF thwarted a terror attack on a major highway in the West Bank. Defense Ministry security guards stopped a Palestinian car with 2 passengers who were found to be carrying a bomb. The vehicle was stopped at the Oranit checkpoint on Highway 5 after drawing suspicion. The Defense Ministry said the driver admitted to planning a bombing and that both suspects are now in police custody. And the IDF today issued a request from Palestinians in Gaza who live in certain areas near the Israeli border to evacuate. The IDF has made similar demands in the past during Operation Pillar of Defense, for example, usually ahead of an airstrike of a particular area. Hamas has instructed the Palestinians not to listen to the calls from the IDF and to stay in their homes. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry called the current situation in the Middle East, quote, a dangerous moment. And while he defended Israel's right to defend itself, saying no country can accept such rocket attacks, he also said de-escalating the situation and restoring peace was ultimately the goal. Kerry said he conveyed as much to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and to Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas. Kerry made the comments today while attending a summit with Chinese leaders in Beijing. And United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon called for a ceasefire understanding in the region. He made the remarks while addressing the UN Security Council in New York City this morning. B'nai B'rith International has launched its Israel Emergency Fund in response to the rocket attacks from Gaza into Israel. The goal is to raise funds to help Israeli residents in the areas under rocket fire and also to help with the personal needs of IDF soldiers. The funds will be distributed by the B'nai B'rith World Center in Jerusalem. 3 of the 6 suspects arrested for the murder of Palestinian teenager Muhammad Abu Qadir, which took place just over a week ago, were released today on a 7-day house arrest after police had determined those 3 had not taken part in the killing. Police say the 3 remaining suspects, reportedly 1 adult from the West Bank settlement of Adam and 2 minors from Jerusalem, have confessed to the crime and reenacted it for police, who believe the murder was to avenge the killings of the 3 Israeli teens, Naftali Frankel, Eyal Yifrach, and Gilad Shar. And Israel's police has suspended one of its officers accused of beating a Palestinian-American teen said to be a relative of Abu Qadir. 15-year-old Tariq Abu Qadir, who was visiting Israel from Tampa, Florida, was arrested last week along with several other masked youths while participating in riots in East Jerusalem, who were throwing stones and Molotov cocktails at Israeli forces. Tariq was said to have a slingshot on him. An Israeli border policeman who arrested Tariq Abu Qadir is shown in a video beating the teen after he was detained. Police opened an investigation and that officer is now suspended. He may face charges. Looking at some other news now, German neo-Nazi Udo Voigt took a seat earlier this week on the European Parliament's Civil Liberties, Justice and Home Affairs Committee. And European leaders and Jewish organizations are expressing their outrage. Voigt is the former leader of the National Democratic Party of Germany, who was narrowly voted into the parliament earlier this year. He was previously convicted for glorifying the Nazis and has promoted racism and xenophobia. Director of the American Jewish Committee's European Office on Anti-Semitism, Stefan Kramer, said it's revolting enough that Voigt was elected to the European Parliament, but his assignment to this particular European Parliament committee makes a mockery of everything all democratic forces hold dear. He said the idea of a neo-Nazi as a guardian of European human rights is sickening. And European Parliament President Martin Schulz told the news site Euractiv that there is no place for racists and anti-Semites in this House. And that's Shalom TV's news update for Thursday, July the 10th, 2014. I'm Teisha Bader.